if we want data centres and to be part of the AI revolution across economies globally, we need more electricity and more reliable electricity, and preferably more affordable electricity. I mean, it's incontrovertible, isn't it?
Everything you said in your introduction, Chris, is absolutely spot on. It is extraordinary that this government that says it's committed hand on heart to getting to net zero by 2050 wants to do everything it can to reduce emissions and to solve climate change will not look at nuclear when the rest of the world is. There is a nuclear renaissance taking place in the US, in China, in Europe, and yet here we will send uranium and the Prime Minister will sign a deal with a straight face to send uranium to India and herald it from the rooftop, and yet he will not even allow the ban to be lifted here for us to test whether it is commercially viable for us to use it here in Australia. And can I say, when it comes to data centres, they're solving the water issue. The latest technology, they're self-cooled and they're solving the water issue. What they cannot solve for is the energy issue. And we're going to see prices continue to rise here in Australia unless we can find more abundant sources of energy. And that means, to start with, using our own coal, our own gas, providing the opportunity for us to use our own uranium, and then where, you can and where it's the right place and the right time, obviously use solar and use wind. But if we don't have that baseload power, forget about data centres and AI, which are going to power the jobs of the future, especially for our young people here in this nation.
Good day. Australia has enough uranium under the ground to power half the planet, and we are shipping it overseas while telling our own engineers they are not allowed to use it. Let that sink in for a second. We dig it up, we sell it to India, we sell it to whoever wants to build a reactor with it, and then Canberra turns around and says, "Sorry mate, not for us. We would rather burn extension cords made of hope and good vibes." That is not an energy policy. That is a hostage situation. And today, we are breaking it down. Quick favour, if you're loving this breakdown, let me see you hit that subscribe button. Over 90% of viewers have not yet. Please do. It is free, takes a second, and means the world to us. Thanks if you did. Now back to the show.
This is the point I want to focus on a little bit, because I don't think enough people understand this very obvious point. Certainly not enough people in federal cabinet, in the Labor Party, understand this point. And that is that our whole modern economy is based on cheap, reliable energy. The only reason Australia has been able to develop all the wonderful things we have, and certainly any manufacturing industry, was because we've had cheap, reliable energy that's helped us overcome the tyranny of distance, among other things. Now, we've undermined our own manufacturing and our own economic success in the last couple of decades by making that electricity much more expensive and increasingly unreliable. This AI revolution, which we know is going to change the way the world operates economically, we'll just miss out on that completely if we don't get back on track with affordable energy.
Yeah, absolutely right. And, my home state of Victoria, brown coal built the manufacturing sector here, which powered this state and made it the greatest economic state in the nation. Now, sadly, what the Andrews and Allen government have done to it is killed that source of cheaper energy, and manufacturing here in Victoria sadly has struggled ever since, and that's what's happening nationally. And if we want to be part of the future, we have to get back to providing affordable energy for our manufacturing base. And, the way that development is occurring with AI is quite extraordinary. And they're now looking at what they call real AI, where they'll use artificial intelligence to help with advanced manufacturing. Now, if we're not part of that, you can forget about us catching up when it comes to our manufacturing sector and growing the industries of the future. We will just miss out. Young Australians will miss out. And all because of pure ideology and lies Chris Bowen is out today again saying we shouldn't look at nuclear because all the modelling's been done which says it's too expensive. Well, I call that out for two reasons. One, if that's the truth, then lift the ban and let the market test it, for one. And the second thing is change your modelling, because all your modelling bakes in Labor's 82% renewable target by 2030 and net zero by 2050. Take that out and then do your modelling on what's the best form of providing cheap, affordable and abundant energy in this nation, and your models would spit out something entirely different. It's all fabricated, it's all driven by ideology, and it's sadly going to hurt the future of this nation.
So here is the situation. Right now, the Albanese government is chasing 82% renewables by the year 2030 and net zero by 2050. Sounds lovely on a bumper sticker. Problem is, the world just changed the game on us and nobody in Canberra got the memo. That game changer is artificial intelligence, and specifically the data centers that run it. These things are power-hungry monsters. They need electricity that is abundant, reliable, and available at 3 in the morning whether the wind is blowing or not. You cannot negotiate with a data center. It does not care about your climate target, it just wants the lights on, constantly, forever. And if we cannot give it that, the AI economy simply builds its factory somewhere else. Which brings us to the elephant in the room wearing a hard hat: nuclear energy. Right now, in 2026, Australia is one of the only developed nations on Earth that still bans it outright, while the rest of the world sprints in the opposite direction. The Americans are approving new reactors. China is building them faster than we can build a roundabout. And get this, even Germany, the poster child for going all in on renewables, quietly backed off its own experiment and now leans on French nuclear power just to keep the lights on. Meanwhile, we are sitting on some of the largest uranium reserves on the planet, happily exporting the stuff and legislating ourselves out of ever using it. Imagine owning a bakery, selling all your flour to the neighbours, and then wondering why you cannot make bread.
Yeah, I mean, their modelling said that our power prices would be $275 lower than they were 5 years ago. And in fact, they're $1,000 more expensive. So you can forget their modelling. I think the critical question of this, and somehow we need to get most Australians thinking about this, and that is not whether it's a choice between reliable, affordable, renewable energy or coal or nuclear. It's a matter of whether their renewables model is actually achievable, because no other country has done this and no other country is even attempting to do this. The closest you could come to in terms of a decent modern economy without mountains of hydropower would be Germany, where they tried to go down this path, and they're already backtracking. They're already looking at extending nuclear and coal, and they have the life-saving connection from France of nuclear power. I mean, the point is, there's not a reputable expert who says that Labor can even deliver their plan, no matter how expensive it would be.
You're absolutely right. And everything points to the fact that they're going to fail every single target that they have. They're not going to achieve 82% renewables by 2030. There's not an expert in this country who says that they will. And even Chris Bowen, when it's put to him, sort of stammers and stutters and cannot give a honest answer on that, because he knows it's simply not true. And this is an ideological experiment that they're carrying out, which is going to hurt us as a nation. And the sooner they come to terms with that and change course and pursue energy abundance, that's what China's doing. That's what the United States is doing. That's what Germany is doing now. They've done a big U-turn. They are pursuing gas like there is no tomorrow, plus looking to whether they can reboot their nuclear facilities. I mean, everywhere else they know it's energy abundance, yet here we are still pursuing this blanket ideological approach, and it's so damaging.
Well, the lie is so obvious, because Chris Bowen likes to tell us, along with Anthony Albanese and the rest of them, that renewables are are the cheapest and most affordable and reliable path to emissions-free energy in the future. And if they really believe that, they just need to point to one other country that is going down this path, and they cannot point to one. No other country is as stupid as Australia. Unbelievable.
Now let us talk dollars, because ideology does not pay the electricity bill. You do. Power prices have already blown out well beyond what the modelling promised. Families are feeling it every single quarter, and manufacturers are feeling it even harder. There is a reason Victoria became a manufacturing powerhouse last century, and it was not inspiration. It was cheap, reliable brown coal keeping the machines running. Take away affordable baseload power and you do not just lose a few factories, you lose the entire pathway for young Australians to build things, make things and compete globally in an AI-driven economy that is about to reward exactly the countries with cheap, abundant electricity. And here's the kicker. This is not even a renewables versus nuclear fight, no matter how the headlines frame it. Shadow Energy Minister Dan Tehan has been blunt about it. This is not an either-or choice, it's a question of whether the government's current model is actually physically and economically achievable, or whether it's just a target dressed up as a plan. Solar and wind absolutely have a role, but pretending they can carry the entire national grid alone, with no nuclear, no coal and no gas in the mix, is not bold climate leadership. It's wishful thinking with a media strategy attached. The real answer being pushed by critics of this policy is energy abundance, not energy purity. Coal and gas doing the heavy lifting through the transition. Nuclear finally allowed to compete on the table, instead of being banned before the conversation even starts, and renewables filling in where they genuinely make sense. That's not radical, that's just what the US, China, and even reluctant Germany are already doing. Australia is not choosing caution here, we're choosing isolation. And isolation does not look good on a resource-rich country that could be leading the pack instead of trailing behind it. Thank you for watching. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.